Episode 5 of the GAC Alumni Spotlight, brought to you by GEICO, airs at this time. And this time we turn our attention to the Lynx with former GAC Player of the Year and All-American from Southern Nazarene, Michael Hearne. Michael, thanks for taking the time to visit with us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for the call.
Mike, when I first mentioned there your time at the GAC, what events really stood out to you during your time there at Southern Nazarene?
First, I'd say obviously the first one was my first college win. So out at Lake Hefner, my first college win my junior year, and then winning conference the same year. That was probably the two that really stand out.
And I believe it was that year, that junior year at Lake Hefner, where you shot a 62, which still stands as the low by anybody in the GAC. Just take us back to that day if you can, and at what point did you start counting up and realize that you'd gone pretty low?
It started, so I didn't have a very good first two rounds. Home golf course, wasn't really, I didn't reach my expectations the first two rounds, and then last round, I kind of went out all guns blazing and hit a few, made a few putts, and it was, I want to say, 5-6 under through 9, and it just kept going from there. And I got to 9 under through 13, and then I was 14's kind of a little par 3 with a tucked back pin, and I was like, let's play safe here, and then hitting the water on 15, made bogey, and then I finished. I birdied 17. I hit a putt from 40 feet, hit the back of the hole. Luckily, it did. Fist pumped so much I thought I threw my arm out, and then I managed to hit 18 as well. So yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster, like most big rounds are. But yeah, it was just one of those days. Everything clicked for the most part. Outside of one bogey, but
I was gonna say the golfing gods can be weird like that, where they take one away for you there by hitting it in the water, but they'll give you one back by holding that long putt. So you can almost say it could have been better, but realistically, it probably could have been worse. You probably ended up about what you deserved for that day. And then you mentioned the conference tournament there down there in Hot Springs. It was a runaway victory for you. Just what was working that week at Hot Springs?
I love the golf course. It's a really good spot. It just sets up really well. And like I said, I played solid first two rounds and had the lead. And, one thing I took from a couple of mentors of mine was when you're in the lead, just keep your foot down. Don't, stay aggressive. So I kind of had a number in mind that day. I think it was like 5 or 6 under. If we get to 1, right, let's get to 2 and just keep going. And I made a few putts, and then I managed to birdie 18 to get to 7, I think. So ended up winning by 9, and yeah, just one of those days. I mean, I had a great week, and it was really good, actually, really cool experience.
Yeah. And then the following year was one of the great weird years I've ever seen for someone of your talent, where I think you finished like the top 6 at every tournament, even up to nationals, but you didn't win once. Like, how odd was that to be so close to picking up so many more trophies, but never once being able to close the door out on any of that year?
It's hard to tell people, hey, I didn't finish outside of the top 5 or top 6 this year, and I'm mad at myself. Like, I'm second by a shot 3 times in 1 year it's painful, and I was trying to be kind of humble about it and not act arrogantly or whatever kind of come across, but I was pretty mad.
Right.
But then at the same time, the whole year I had it, but it's one shot, 2 shots, 1 shot around, and I was, like I said, it could have been an insane season, but it turned out, that not my best was still good enough, to make top 5 every round, especially at nationals. I didn't play great at nationals. I managed to backdoor my way into 4th.
I was going to say, I think we were following there. I think it was your final round was something in the mid 60s. I thought that got you way up there, up to 4th place. So again, you probably look back at if you'd played better the first 2 or 3 days, and you're up there for a national championship. But that year obviously ended with being the GAC Athlete of the Year, Male Athlete of the Year. Just what did that mean to take that honor, to earn it by going across all sports that the league sponsors?
Yeah, it's pretty special because, golf is not the most watched sport in college when it turns to basketball, or especially in our conference where, We're not battling with. I mean, people from our conference are going to play on tour one day, but we're not battling with D1 college golf competition. It's still competition, but it's not to the highest of level as that. Mm-hmm. In the golf world is going to be watched. So yeah, definitely to take that, to stand out and take that across all sports really meant a lot.
Yeah, and we've had multiple golf winners win that award. Zach James last year at Southeastern took that award. We've had numerous winners on the women's side with Rebecca Sertival, who I think was competing at Arkansas Tech the same time you were, and you probably saw, I guess, at conference. Obviously different sides of the golf course, but it was a great time for GAC golf, and we see it throughout the years as we keep sending teams to nationals and individuals to nationals. But that your senior year was the first year that Southern Nazarene got to compete at the NCAA level, and just take us to that experience there. The team at the Super Regionals, and then I think all right, you needed a playoff, right, to get into nationals. Just take us to that pressure, because you've gone from team competition all of a sudden within one day to now just it's an individual. Just take to the mindset of that day, and then how you managed to persevere.
Yeah, we played at Cog Hill in Chicago, and that was, like I said, the first big real trip that we'd taken as a team. First flight anyway that we'd taken as a team. So the guys are obviously really excited to get there. Golf course is fantastic. The whole setup is great. The NCAA do a great job of setting golf tournaments up. But yeah, like I kind of knew going in that it would have been a really, for the team to make it, we really had to play well all week. Because obviously the standard there is great, and
and it's 20 teams because they combine the two regions, and based on they base qualifications based on previous national success. So I think the Central Region only gets 4, maybe 5 spots, because those Southern conferences take up all the spots. So you are talking about having to be really at your best for all 3 rounds.
I kind of went into it with a mindset. I asked my coach, "Look, what have I got to do to get there?" And I know that kind of sounds bad-ish, but I was focusing on how do we get there and how do I get there, and the better I play, the better chance the team has. But I knew going in that I had to play really well to have an individual spot. I think there's 2 individual spots outside of the teams that go, and going into the last round, I kind of knew I was thereabouts, and I actually played with the guy who won it. Super nice guy. He played solid and kind of blew everybody out, and then I somehow, the last hole's a par 5, and I was like, if I can make birdie, I'm in. Mm-hmm. And I just about made par, and then you didn't have much time to wait around. They said, okay, sign your scorecard and you're in a playoff. Let's go. Within 10 minutes, I'm on the tee. And
there could be some cases, sorry to cut you off, where you could play in like the odd group early, and your team's not conditioned. You're waiting around for 4 or 5 hours, but with how you guys were paired, you were like, it was like just a regular PGA Tour event. You tie for the lead, and it's quick turnaround.
Yeah, and then they set us, so we went off 10, and I kind of drew back to, I played a lot of match play golf growing up in the UK, as most kids do, but playing golf back home, and so I kind of took it as a match play. I was like, well, let's go match play head on and take this guy out, and I hit a great second shot into about 3 feet, made the putt for birdie, and he made par, so it was quick, done and dusted, and then
certainly again, at least again, achieved by earning it with a great shot like that, and at this point, like you see every place, you just tip your cap to your opponent and you say, well done. It's not like, you made bogey and the guy hit it in the water and you scratch out bogey to make double bogey to advance. Again, individually, is that the most crowning achievement for you, or you mentioned back to the conference or your first win that you look back on more fondly?
I mean, they're all great, obviously. Like one of the other ones that stood out was, I want to say, my second win. Was at NSU's tournament, and it was one that I led all the way through, and that was one thing that definitely, because obviously the first one when I shot 62, I came from behind, but this one, with leading all the way, gave me the confidence to go on to the next one. So that's one that stood out, and I remember kind of being, sat in the clubhouse waiting for the last guy to come in, and I kind of walked off on my own just to get out of the way because I'm freaking out. And like everyone else is, but that I won by like 2 shots or 1 shot, I was very happy that I'd accomplished that, and it takes out the doubts, So
sure. So I know with the as this is going to be part of the alumni spotlight, it does mean that it's been a few years removed from your time with the Crimson Storm, but we did see this year you were back in a tournament setting at the U.S. Was it the Mid-Am? This year, just what was it like? I mean, how much regular, getting those juices going at tournament play do you still have, or is it just more irregular? And this year worked out, or how do you keep up with your game?
It's a huge difference. You go from playing golf, practicing 3-4 days a day, 3-4 hours a day, every day when you're in college, and you kind of take the weekends off, or I did anyway, unless we were traveling, and going to working, and maybe playing golf once or twice a week. And luckily I kind of have I work part-time at Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club. It lets me practice and play out there. So, but still, we're not making any money from it. I know how to get around a golf course a lot more now than I did when I was, in college, because you have to rely on, not practicing. You can't rely on all your practice. So,
but then talk about, like you said, this summer, just the ability to qualify for the national, getting out of sectionals and onto the U.S. Mid-Am. Just it had to be again a stats. I think you still had that in you to get the competitive juices going, and then just that experience to go. I guess it was one of the Carolinas, wasn't it, where you ended up playing?
Yeah, Charlotte. Yeah, it was great. So I mean, obviously, if you're not a professional golfer and you've graduated and you've played college golf, most of us now are over the age of 25. So the U.S. Mid-Am is the biggest thing for us to play in. Pretty much our only chance to winning that and getting to the Masters. So that's kind of my goal now. Is like I play golf every now and then, and like when competition time comes around, that is, if I could qualify every year to go to the U.S. Mid-Am, that'd be great, and maybe one time win it, and that would be it. I mean, I could that is the ultimate goal.
Well, we would certainly, obviously, champion any success you have, and therefore would give us a reason to go to the Masters. So I was like, GAC's got to cover Michael Hearne. So get us that credential down there in Augusta, because obviously those the access there is super limited. But Michael, like I said, we appreciate you taking your time to reflect on us there. We obviously are very you're quite proud of your achievements. We see some GAC trophies there in your case there. The All-America stuff you earned. You certainly represented the GAC and Southern Nazarene well during your time there. We're very proud to be able to call you an alum, and we thank you for taking the time to look back on your time with us.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate everything you guys do.
I appreciate it, Michael. And actually, I give you this nice formal closing, but I realized I forgot one thing. You become, I think, quite a commentator on especially international play on the golf scene, especially during the Ryder Cup year. And although you are in Oklahoma, certainly we your roots are back to the English side. How do you balance just being everyone's from somewhere with your friends there that are obviously rooting for the patriotic side when those events come around?
Yeah, well, back to the Welsh side. The English side is a little different. But being from Wales and being European, I mean, I have a European flag on the wall next to my Welsh flag. And that European flag is from the Ryder Cup when it was in Wales. So, Paris was fantastic this year. I had a lot of fun telling people,
were you making the 1 a.m. wake-up calls to see the start, or were you catching it on a DVR? Or...
No, I was DVRing it. I was catching it, yeah. I woke up maybe at 5, but never at 1 a.m. I'm not that obsessed.
Well, like I said, we gave you the nice platitudes when we wrapped up just a second ago, and then true professional like I am, I had one more question to wrap it up there. But again, Michael, we appreciate taking the time to look back on us. We hope that you have continued success when you do tee it up again, and we look forward to chatting again down the road.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Michael.
Cheers, mate.